What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 8 of the 300 Club podcast. My name is Gilbert, your co-host. Got my guy right here, Kelvin. We handle Encoder Podcast too. Tune in, comment, like, subscribe, and you already know.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys are now watching episode 8 of the 300 Club. Usually we talk about Mets and Yankees, and we also like to add about some baseball topics that's going around right now in the MLB. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and dive into it. The Mets are gonna start a two-game series against the Phillies up in London. How you feel about that so far?
I like it. It's nice for us to finally be involved in part of a international play. I
Right.
do wish we were better, it makes it a little more exciting, but nonetheless, the Phillies are, I believe, the best or second best team by record. If it's not them and the Yankees, top two teams. It's giving me a lot of vibes of 2009, so maybe that happens this year.
Yeah, yeah. I like
Uh,
the fact that it's a good rivalry too.
yeah,
Honestly, yeah, the Mets and Phillies are a really good rivalry. Um, it's a really good rivalry. Obviously, we wish that the Mets could be better in terms of that. But I'm very interested to see how this matchup will go. This is what I could predict, actually. The Phillies have been really dominating this year.
yeah.
The Mets, not so much. So I would think that this could probably be a series where the Mets will want to show a little bit of fight in them. No pun intended to the fighting Phils, but I would like for them to show a little bit of fight. I mean, first and foremost, they're going to be up against Ranger Suarez, who's having a phenomenal season this year. This is actually something that I wanted to show you. Let me go ahead and bring that up. But Ranger Suarez right now, I believe he's 6-1 with an ERA below 2. And then you guys have Sean Manaea pitching on the other side. Now, being the Met fan that you are, how do you feel about the Mets offense going up against Ranger Suarez, who has been dealing this year? As I go ahead and look up the stats here.
I don't know, bro. I did see a stat. I believe it was yesterday. It was the top pitchers in the NL in terms of ERA, and I think three of the Phillies are within top five or top 10. So that goes to show you, with Zach Wheeler and stuff like they clicking this year, man. And I don't
Yeah.
know. But in the counter side, so far, the London series, last time I believe was the Yankees and Red Sox, they scored us so many runs. So maybe it's a thing where it will be a high scoring game, this two game series.
Right, right. And you never really know how by the way, I want to correct myself. I think I said he was 6-1. He's 9-1, which is even much more phenomenal. Um, but yeah, no, I'm curious to see how that matchup will be. Ranger Suarez, I mean, the guy, he's looked like he could arguably be a starter for the All-Star game this year. You never really know. But the guy has definitely stepped up this year. ERA is 1.70. Phenomenal job. That's insane.
That's tough.
And then the Phillies, I mean, that offense is nothing to play with. Like they're phenomenal as well. They got some great hitters there. It seems like everybody's healthy at this current time. I just want the Mets to show up with a little bit of fight. You never really know. The point that I was trying to make earlier is that you never really know what happens when, teams when they travel and they visit different time zones.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they were probably touring in London,
yeah.
having a good time and all that. So you really don't know like who's really fatigued, who isn't. But it's gonna be exciting to watch. I will say, I did want to bring this up to you really quick as we go ahead and take a look at the schedule here for the Mets. I'm actually very disappointed that it's a two-game series.
Yo, bro, you read my mind, bro.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend. I'm like, yo, the only thing my complaint with MLB is, it's good that you're doing these international tours throughout the season, expand your fan base, get new fans. You got the Korea series, you got the Dominican series in spring training, you had the Mexico series a few weeks ago, and now you have the London series. I feel like two-game series is not ideal in my opinion.
I
At least
agree.
3 games, bro. And if it's a weekend, 3 games, bro. Friday to Sunday.
I absolutely agree.
Give everyone a chance to go or go multiple times.
Right. And it gives us a chance to really savor it because like these events really don't happen that quite often. Like if you think about it from a different perspective, the NBA has so many holidays throughout the season. And they can celebrate those holidays, whether it's Black History Month, Christmas, Valentine's Day,
New
so on.
Year, Thanksgiving,
New
yeah.
Year's, exactly. And they can play around with the jerseys a little bit. They can mess around with the festivities. In baseball, it's not really like that. I think that you have St. Patrick's Day during spring training. And then after that is like 4th of July. I don't even think they do anything for like Juneteenth, which is sad because they should. But
So, all right, maybe,
and
maybe that's a good way to look at it. Or Labor Day or something, September towards the end of the season.
right.
He's getting back to the cold. Maybe celebrate that too in its own way. Memorial Day, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly, or throw a little bit of different events in there, like Negro League games, like have teams represent like their
Yeah,
Negro League history or whatever the case is. I think they had that.
Yeah, they've done it before, but it's not like a thing that it's like a every year thing, you know?
Right. Or it's not as long, which I think is
Mhm.
the point that we're trying to get to. Hot take. When when not the Yankees, when the MLB was doing like player weekends,
Bringing that
um,
back this year.
bringing that back, I think that would be interesting. I would love to hear your opinion on it really quickly. How do you feel about the players weekend? When you were a fan of that when that happened?
I'm a fan of it. I believe they said they're bringing it back this year towards the later part of the season. I
That's
think it
dope.
should be something that should come back every year, man. New jerseys, maybe nicknames in the back, maybe tied in with the Little League World Series.
Little League World Series. I
Bro,
was just about to
like I
say
feel
that.
like again with baseball, it's like damn, bro, you got so many opportunities. You got the internet in your favor, and it's like so many things to try to connect and bring new fans, and they just don't do it. Like I believe July 4th. I don't know if it's July 4th or Memorial Day, but there's a day in those holidays that not every team plays. And I feel like that should be the day where every team plays, like the NBA, or maybe have five scheduled games, but have those on all on national TV, like basketball, you know?
Absolutely.
You gotta work around it, bro, you know?
Great point. Great point. Absolutely. And I think that these celebratory type of games, I think that these series should be longer. I think they should be 3, 4 games. Like
Yeah.
really wear those jerseys for that entire weekend or something like that. Like from a
Yeah.
marketing perspective, if you wear like for example, like the Little League World Series collaborative jerseys or whatever, and you have it for the entire weekend, odds are you're probably going to be capitalizing on your revenue when it comes down to that. So, um, but nevertheless, I mean, the Phillies and the Mets, that's definitely going to be a series that I want to go ahead and stay tuned, mainly for the pitching side. Out of the Rangers, they have Rangers, pause. The Phillies, you have Ranger Suarez pitching. I think the next game is Jose Quintana against Walker, and he's a former Met. So, like I said, I think this will be a great opportunity for the Mets to actually show some fight. We're only
Yeah.
approaching halfway through the season, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but there's like 5 teams who are in the hunt for the wild card, and they're below 500.
They're like 3.5 games back from the last spot. Surprise.
Yeah, or and it's the fact that they're competing for a playoff spot and they're still below
Struggle.
500, which is a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
But we do want to switch gears to a team that's red hot once again, the Yankees. They're dominating so far. They just dominated the Twins, which I mean, for the past like 20 years, that's what's
Yo,
been
bro,
going
I
on.
seen that stat. It was like the last 20 years. It's like a big difference between wins and losses. Like, damn, if you're a Twins fan, like that's your daddy right there, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Crazy.
and like as a Yankee fan, obviously, like that's phenomenal. But let me tell you this: it's been happening so long that I feel like the next playoff series that they may have, like, don't be surprised if the maybe the ties turn a little bit. You never know. Like, they're due, and I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm saying that like the
Bro,
Twins are due to beat us and beat us bad.
ever since I
And
started watching baseball since I was little, and I'm like, yo, as long as the Yankees face a central winner, which is the Twins in that era in the mid to late 2000s, I'm like, the Yankees got an easy bye in the first round. They always beat them, bro. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And more specifically on the Yankees next series now is they're up against the Dodgers in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
Phenomenal series over the weekend. Right today is going to be showing on Yes and on Apple TV, which I love the Apple TV
I
broadcast. I
love
don't know if you've
that.
ever seen that.
I love that. I just wish that commentators was a little better and more informal baseball, but like the presentation is amazing. Like that,
Elite.
the audibles, the on the field. That's just amazing
It's
coverage.
amazing. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love when any game is on Apple TV, regardless of what the matchup is. I like to stay tuned and watch. But it's gonna be very interesting. Pitching tonight for the Dodgers is gonna be Yamamoto to lead off. I'm excited to watch that. I saw a stat where his ERA has been under 3 since
Finally,
the series in Korea. So he's slowly but surely, making it click. I'm curious to know about that, how that matchup is gonna go. I want to leave it with this question here. The Yankees have been dominating with Aaron Judge and Soto in the lineup. Soto is actually not in the starting lineup today. He's not down, but he's dealing with some type of like left forearm swelling or whatever the case may be. He could possibly pinch it today, but nonetheless, the lineup with Soto and Judge has been phenomenal.
yeah,
And I'm curious to know how well the Yankees are going to hit against Yamamoto, a
that's
guy who has so many
great
pitches and
point.
confidence. What are
That's
some of your predictions?
That's a great point. I feel like removing Soto changes the dynamic of the team. Like, don't get me wrong, it's just one player, but that player does so much in putting the ball in play, getting on base, drawing walks, not chasing pitches. and that changes everything because now you pitch to Judge differently. Now you pitch to Verdugo differently. So now you pitch to Stanton different because them three guys, Stanton, Judge, and Soto, they've been phenomenal. I saw a stat they're like the first pair of teammates by a certain point in May to get 15 homers through the season, and they all had over 15. So that's amazing right there. So I don't know.
Absolutely.
But again, it's something to watch considering how many off-speed pitches Yamamoto has, how many pitches he tries to throw outside of the strike zone. Does that change that the Yankees mentality and point of attack against the Dodgers? So I'm definitely gonna tap in for that for sure.
And honestly speaking, like these games could go any either way. These
Uh,
two are arguably, besides the Phillies, are arguably two of the top three, four, five teams in the MLB right now. This could very well be the World Series matchup. So I'm just curious to know how the Yankees are going to respond with one of their great players out, and how the team is going to be rallying past, rallying towards the Dodgers. I'm curious to watch that matchup. I
and
will say that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry to cut you.
No,
And
go
on top
ahead.
of that, remember that the Yankees played the Dodgers last year in LA, and that's when Judge got hurt. So maybe this is extra motivation and fuel for him to show out, like, yeah, all rise in the Bronx.
Right, right. And I love that segue because we actually did want to share a little bit of some news that you wanted to that you actually brought up about Aaron Judge and so on.
Yeah.
There are some debates going on about the impact that not only what has Judge has done, but in addition to Aaron Judge's capabilities as well. As we go ahead and share this post that we found on X that Gilbert was able to share with us, is that the debate is Aaron Judge's greatness. And is it fair to compare him to the likes of somebody like Mickey Mantle or any of these other Yankee greats? Me being the Yankee fan that I am, I'm just going to say Judge is amazing. Phenomenal player. Arguably could have been MVP twice. But what defines his career the most at the end of the day is the rings. He needs to get rings, bro. At least one. And then I can actually put him in the conversation. Now, I played around a little bit with the numbers with Aaron Judge, and I think that by the time his career ends, when his contract is done, he's probably going to be hovering between 500 to maybe 600 career home runs. I think the Mickey Mantle comparison is pretty fair, but I think it's way too early for him to be compared to Mickey Mantle. What are some opinions that you would like to share on that?
I feel like if all right, so this is how I break the conversation now. I do agree that playoff success matters, at least more so in the Yankees because of the tradition and the history of the Yankees. The prestige. I would say talent wise, I think Aaron Judge is a top 10 greatest Yankee of all time by pure talent and by pure numbers, just on regular season numbers. He's a top 10 Yankee, perhaps, of all time. Now, again, the greatness is where it's determined in the playoff success. And has not gotten the success that he's wanted. Part of it, I don't think it's all his fault. Part of it is again, I don't think the Yankees really had a team ready to really have a long push. They didn't have the right hitting around them. So I think this time around, if healthy, with Soto, it changes the way Judge gets pitched around in the playoffs, and maybe he capitalizes on that. And if that turns out to be true, then I think that's really what's been the difference, and his numbers reflecting that way to what they could change. Um, I don't think he's the top 10 greatest Yankee yet, but I do think he's the top 10 greatest Yankee to have played in terms of talent.
I agree. I think honestly speaking, I think his defense has been extremely underrated because he
Yeah.
plays all three defensive positions at an above average level. Very, very slept on. It's actually shocking that I think last year or the year before that he was really in the running to be Gold Glove caliber, and for some reason he didn't win it. But besides from the defensive side, you had a phenomenal point bringing up what he should be doing more or less in postseason. In previous years, we had the likes of, and this is not to knock on them, but at the same time, kinda, yeah. Who did you surround Aaron Judge with? Matt Holliday, Aaron
Eddie
Hicks,
Sanchez.
Josh Donaldson. Like none of them is up to the caliber as Juan Soto,
Wow.
and shout out to Stanton. I mean, he's held it down in playoffs too. But at the end of the day, when you have two righty dominant hitters, it's good to have that lefty, to be able to have a different perspective in the lineup, making it a little bit more difficult for those pitchers. But I do think that having just a left-handed presence, at least more than one,
Yeah.
besides Rizzo, I think that's gonna be able to have Judge see more pitches.
And and on top of that, if you quickly look at that graphic too, Jeter is the most successful player out of all of those that are there. He has the 5 rings too. But as great as Jeter has been and was, he also benefited from playing with a lot of great players around him. For example, Tino Martinez, Paul O'Neill, Johnny Damon, A-Rod,
Teixeira,
Barrow, Curtis Granderson, Nick Swisher, Posada. Like, bro, how do you pitch to those teams, bro? Of course, Jeter wasn't a power hitter like all these other players, but he benefited, bro.
and to the point, half of those names that you mentioned were left-handed.
Cano too,
And Cano, exactly. So,
Matsui, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Left,
there you go. That's the formula right
all
there.
those hitters, man. It's like they were so great in threats, even if they didn't thrive every year in the playoffs. That you can't sleep on anybody in those lineups, man. So Jeter's gonna get pitches to hit, and he's just a good enough hitter to to get it done. You know what I mean?
I want to ask you a question, and it's far too early for it's far too early to talk about playoffs, but let me ask you a generic baseball question. For those that want to go ahead and share your opinions on it, please feel free to do so in the comments. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the 300 Club podcast. We're on all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, or X, if you want to call it, TikTok, and all. So go ahead and you guys like and subscribe. My question to you guys and to Gilbert is: in playoffs, cold weather, October weather, is it harder to pitch under those circumstances, or is it harder to hit in those circumstances?
Ooh, that's a great question, bro. Me personally, I hate playing in the cold. But
Right.
that's something you can't avoid if you're playing in the playoffs outdoors. I would say it's probably harder to hit. And I say that only because like as tough as pitching is, and when you're cold, I feel like you're moving more. So you're sweating more. You're as long as you keep a certain rhythm and a pace, you will stay warm within your body. Whereas if you hit, you're hitting every 2 to 3 innings. You're only there for a few pitches. Your hands, you get cold, you gotta hit the ball with the bat. Sometimes you get jammed. Yo, that's
And
that's
it
that's so
hurts.
pain. That's a lot of pain. And then that's when I affect your next at bat and your next at bat. You know what I mean? So I think the pitcher has the higher advantage in that situation for sure.
I agree. And for those who disagree, I agree with Gilbert said. For those that disagree, imagine this. In my personal opinion, I think it's much easier to throw 100 miles an hour under cold weather. I think
Yeah,
it's a lot harder to hit 100 miles an hour in any type of weather, but
yeah,
especially in the cold, under a different type of pressure. It is playoffs. You get probably 3 to 4 at bats per game.
yeah,
And the thought of getting jammed in cold weather, like words cannot express the pain that it that it hurts so bad when that happens. So I just wanted to ask that fun question as we switch over to the next topics here. Another clip that I actually wanted to show that Gilbert actually wanted to share with us was about A-Rod's comments in terms of the Yankees. I'm going to go ahead and share the clip with you guys.
yeah. Basically, a clip of the current Yankees team, and they was asked for his opinion. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and try to find it really quickly. Give me 1 second here. Uh, there it is. All right, let me go ahead and share it for the audience here. Can you hear that, Gil?
no,
You can't hear it? All right. So pretty much what this video is addressing is A-Rod's liking towards his Yankees teams. He mentioned that it's a lot more balanced as it was previously. It reminds him a lot about how it was during his previous years or his previous tenure being a Yankee. And I agree with him. Honestly speaking, I think the likes of having somebody like Juan Soto and his impact has definitely bettered everybody's approach towards the plate. Example. Um, from our previous experience playing softball early this week, there wasn't that bat that I gave away. I was messing around with the pitcher. We were just smiling at each other, just laughing or whatever. But then what ended up happening, I ended up just popping up. Not to relate to MLB and what they deal with, but essentially every time I see Juan Soto step up to the plate, he does not give away any at bats. He's in there focused and he's there making it count. And I feel like that has generally rubbed on all these other Yankee players on the lineup. Any thoughts on that?
I also believe A-Rod was also comparing this team similarly to the 2009 championship Yankees. And I believe his reasoning is also because he feels like up and down the lineup, there's not that many holes. Everybody's taking pitches too, so it's not like they're all first pitch swinging. They're working the counts. Like you said, the focus is there, the mission is there, and the biggest thing that I've seen is that they all bought in. You know what I mean? They all bought in. Like, yo, we have a mission. We trying to win. This is our goal, and we doing this. And You need that shift in perspective, man. That matters too. If you set that tone early in spring training and you believe it and your whole team believes it and your best players are there and you have a guy like Soto and then you have a guy like Garrett Cole, the reigning Cy Young, who hasn't pitched yet, you feel phenomenal about the season so far. And you know what they can do this year, you know?
Absolutely. And not to mention that these players that we mentioned before, like Juan Soto, Clay Holmes, Alex Verdugo, Gleyber Torres, they're all free agents at the end of the year. And they're playing for a contract, absolutely, but they might not be on a great team as like this right now. You know, you have to start taking advantage of it. And I think that is really rubbing off on the rest of the players. Honestly speaking, I think it's phenomenal. I think this team is really literally built differently. This team has up until this point right now, honestly speaking, this team has absolutely no flaws. No flaws at all. Their pitching has been phenomenal without the ace. Hitting wise, I think we're number one in runs per game. Like this
Yeah.
has been phenomenal. And you cannot have, I mean, shout out to Brian Cashman, honestly. I mean, he got a lot of shit before this year. I mean, I was one of those, but he has definitely pulled this team together and it's definitely been working out. It's been definitely working out. One thing that has not been working out is the ban of Tucupita from the
Yeah,
Padres for
yeah.
betting on for betting on sports, baseball particularly. I want to pull up this graphic. Like this might make the viewers laugh a little bit in case you guys didn't know as I go ahead and look up this clip. Um, he wasn't even that successful,
Yeah.
even betting. So I just want to lead off with this. Betting, if you're an MLB player, if you're an MLB player and you're betting on baseball, that rule cannot be expressed enough that is something that you shouldn't do. There's a meeting at spring trading, a very important meeting involving this. Shout out to Trevor May for telling us about that little piece of detail. Um, it's literally written in the clubhouse that you cannot do that. This guy had enough talent to play for the MLB, and he
And
threw it all away, and he won less than 5% of his bets.
bro, I love baseball so much, bro. That is disappointing, bro, because my dream was always to make it to baseball. And you have guys like this, man. They have the opportunity, they have the skill set to obviously make a major league roster, and you throw that away for side money for bets, bro. Like if you're really that good, believe in your talent, man. You're gonna get your payday soon in a few years. So why risk that? Or just bet on other sports. Why does it have to be the same sport? And man, the biggest disappointment is like you said, like they do mention it in spring training, they do mention it before the season, in your contracts. But damn, you gotta do your history. Like you already know Pete Rose got banned for life. Pete Rose should be a Hall of Famer, and he got banned for life for betting before sports betting was even a thing in terms of like DraftKings and stuff. There was a thing under the books. And if that's the all-time hits leader that got banned, why do you think you're susceptible to get immunity or get away with it? That's kind of asinine right there, man.
Yo, great point of view. Great take right there. Could not have said it better myself. Truly.
Yeah, man. And it's like, bro, he
It's
decided
stupid. It truly is
decided
stupid.
he decided to bet when he's injured. Like, bro, focus on your rehab, bro. Why are you doing that, bro? Play MLB The Show or something. I don't know.
Right.
But
That's another alternative, honestly speaking. Like if
bro,
you really want to feel
how?
that competitive, you want to bet on yourself, play MLB The Show, bro. Like,
And if you're gonna bet and you're gonna risk your career and your profession, at least win, bro. Like, make it worthy. Win big. Like, come on,
yo,
bro.
dude, yo,
Uh,
another point. I saw a photo. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. But I saw a photo. Shout out to Dugout Report. If you guys do not follow Dugout Report on Instagram, go ahead and do so for your latest and coolest MLB news. I saw a photo that Ipe, Shohei Ohtani's translator, is doing Uber Eats orders. He's doing Uber deliveries, bro.
is that real though?
Yeah, it was him. It was him. They showed
Oh,
two different pictures.
damn. Damn, bro.
Down bad, bro. Down bad. Your
Damn,
job was to
bro.
be Shohei Ohtani's best friend
Ah,
and
that's a bad
translator.
hell,
And
bro.
and now you're doing Uber Eats orders. That's insane. Yo, what would you do if he come knocking at your door, bro?
Yeah, bro. I don't even know, bro.
Yo, I wouldn't believe it. I would have been like, yo, you stupid mother.
And on top of that, the day after, to Gupita's report, MLB reported that the following players, some of them are in the minors. and I think it's one in the majors.
I got that. I got that. I could share that with you
It's
guys
a
also.
player. The following players have been suspended from baseball for 1 year for betting on MLB games. The Athletics pitcher called Michael Kelly. You got Padres minor leaguer pitcher Jay Groom. You got Diamondbacks minor leaguer named Andrew Saalfrank and Phillies minor leaguer infielder Jose Rodriguez. Like, come on, bro. What are we doing,
What are
bro?
we doing? That's
And,
stupidity.
and you're in the minors too. Like, even worse. Like, why are you focusing on that? You
But
know?
my question is, why they only got 1 year banned?
I think the difference is that they didn't bet on their own team. Whereas Tucupita decided to bet on Pirates games and they lost every game that he
Yeah,
bet in.
it looked like he lost every bet
So
too.
I think that's the difference between the lifetime ban and the 1 year ban.
Yeah.
Like these guys maybe betting on other teams and across the league. Um, on top of that, that most of them are in the minors too, so it's not like they can bet on their own team.
Um, before we
Maybe
switch,
maybe if they do it again, maybe it's a lifetime. Who knows?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was a little bit confusing to me, but it could be what you just said and that they weren't betting on their own teams. But regardless, you shouldn't do it. One last opinion that I want to hear is that it's been reported this week that Shohei Ohtani has been officially cleared of
Yeah,
any wrongdoing towards this gambling gate or whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
Any opinions that you want to share on that?
It's just very convenient how the day after Tucupita gets a lifetime ban, Otani's clear from everything. And I don't remember. I believe in the recording before in the episode. You guys should tune in, recap because we brought some points. I believe I brought up the point that I'm like, what kind of president does this set with Otani not being liable? Of course, we know he wasn't going to be found liable because he's such a megastar for baseball and generates so much revenue. But hey, look what happened now. Now you have a few major leaguers and a bunch of minor leaguers getting caught. It's gonna keep happening with the amount of ads and promotion from these sports bettings to baseball and other sports around the country. So I don't see this ending here. I see this continuing. There's gonna be other new players that get caught up betting. They don't learn from the previous mistakes, and I don't know. But I do, to your point, I do find it convenient how he's randomly clear at this time. And yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it's very suspicious. I think it's very suspicious. It's something that we gotta let go now because there's no more news breaking out of it. I think it's definitely gonna be something that he's gonna be asked about with the New York media. I think he's gonna be surrounded by. Um, but it's just very suspicious, man, and it's true. It's what a convenience that is that right after Tucupita got suspended that he was cleared. I thought that was just very suspicious, dude. I didn't really like that. Um, Involving other rule changes here in the MLB, it's the pitch clock. We hear that Chris Bassett had some opinions on it. He spoke about it on Chris Rose's show, which I could go ahead and share with you guys also. I don't know if the audio is going to be heard. That's why I'm not really playing the video at the moment. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out, make sure that you guys follow that podcast. And while we're at it, go ahead and like and subscribe to our videos as well. We're on our goal to try to get 100 subscribers, 100 followers on Instagram. We're almost there, actually, in terms of the Instagram level, but we are trying to get our following up on YouTube. So make sure that you guys like and subscribe and support our channel. It is greatly appreciated. As we go ahead and share Chris Bassett's, what his opinion on it, I was a little confused as to what his take was. Maybe it's something that you can elaborate a little bit on.
Yeah.
But from his perspective, that he just doesn't like the pitch clock, and I don't necessarily know why. Um, what are some? Well, you want to share a little bit of
Yes.
of your take on it?
Yes. So I believe this video came the day after a situation that happened in the game. There was a situation where I believe there was a hitter, Pete Alonso, I think it was, and a few other players around the league. They got caught looking for a third strike recently. So basically, in this video, what they're addressing is there's a rule within the pitch clock. So for example, when the clock goes down from I believe 15 or 16 all the way to 7 seconds, the hitter has to be engaged 100% with the pitcher looking at him. They cannot be taking extra swings. They cannot be looking down. They cannot be fixing their gloves. They has to be engaged, right? So what Chris Bassett is saying that the rule is flawed and it feels like it's taking the element of realism to the game because the pitcher has all the way until zero to release the pitch. So, for example, the pitcher can be off the mound. The pitcher can be he was exaggerating, but let's say the pitcher wants to do a cartwheel and there's still 7 seconds left, right, or 5 seconds left, and as long as he gets back to the mound and picks up his front leg to pitch before zero, he can do so without penalty. Whereas the hitter has to engage the whole time remaining from 7 seconds all the way down. Now, I think it's a big disadvantage to the hitter because me as a hitter, I don't like staying frozen or locked in the same position for too long. I start feeling weird. Maybe I feel itchy. I don't know. That's just me though. I like to feel loose. I like to move around a little bit. And I feel like that's a disadvantage. Like I get it. Again, the objective is to speed up the game, to concise the game, get people in and out. But I feel like if you're gonna have the pitchers all the way down to zero, I feel like the hitters should have that leeway as well too. So
That's a good point. Thank you for bringing some clarity on that as well. Because I was a little bit confused as to what his take was, but it's true. The batter has to be engaged throughout the duration that the pitcher is about to pitch, and the pitcher could do anything that he wants leading up to that moment. I think he was over exaggerating with the whole cartwheel thing. Um, I
he
think
was
he just
he was just giving a comparison to an idea.
right. Which I mean, pitchers are always going to try to find loopholes in order for them to get the advantage because I do think actually the pitch clock works more to the batter's advantage than the pitcher's advantage. To be honest with you,
Really,
I think so. Yeah, I think just in terms of rhythm, stay more focused into the game. I
really,
mean, imagine a pitcher who's already had over 90 pitches in the sixth inning, had like 5 walks, struggling. And every 15, 14 seconds, he has to go ahead and throw another pitch and another pitch and another pitch. I think that the younger players now are going to be more physically ready for that type of wear and tear. And I think that the pitchers now, the ones that we're watching, those that had to adjust to the pitch clock well into their careers are going to struggle a little bit more with that.
okay.
Um, it was just a very interesting take. I actually want to ask you another take, something that happened at the beginning of last week, and that was uh what happened with Tommy Pham and the Brewers.
Yeah,
We shared a little bit of our opinions via text, and it's actually something that we disagreed on.
yeah,
So here's my take on what happened with Tommy Pham. In case
yeah,
you guys didn't know, Tommy Pham got gunned out at home about a step or two. It wasn't much, but he was still gunned out at home. And after he was out or whatever the case is, the inning was over. But he must have heard somebody from the Brewers dugout or one of their players say something that essentially ticked him off. Afterwards, Tommy Pham wanted to express his opinions on it, and he said that he does all this type of fighting during the offseason in case he needs to mess somebody up or whatever the case is. Um, Hot take. I don't like Tommy Pham. I think that if I was in a room with him, I think I wouldn't really get along with him. He's just not my cup of tea. I think that he's been on different teams in the past 3 to 4 or 5 years, and I think that's because of a reason. I think that he might not really mesh well in a clubhouse after he was called out and he went to the to take his position or whatever, he was shadow boxing the air without even throwing any punches. Like that to me just shows that he just has a different type of mentality. Like I, from a personal perspective, I don't know him personally, but from the optics, my point of view, I feel like that if I was to ever be teammates with Tommy Pham, which will never happen, I want to make that clear. He's far better of a player than I am. I'm just a podcaster, but I feel like I don't mesh well with those type of individuals, and I felt like in that situation where I put it like this, he was running on the grass in the first place. He did a late slide. He slid in hard to home, and the catcher held his ground. He didn't even budge, and I don't know. I think Tommy Pham. I think that was a soft move. I think that was just some punk stuff. What he was doing. I really have some strong opinions about that. I really don't like the optics of it. That's who he. If that's who he is, cool. But guess what? I don't really like Tommy Pham, and I'm not scared to admit that. So, and if he comes at me for being I'm a podcaster, bro. Like I'm allowed to share my opinions. At the end of the day, he's a millionaire and I'm not. So whatever, bro. I guess you're winning.
well, before we wrap it up, due to time, I would say, from looking at the play, I think you're right in regards to like him running. It seemed a little out of the baseline, but I think he already had established a little earlier. He was running on the inside side of the grass from third and home. He slid a little hard, nothing too crazy though. The throw beat him by like maybe 2 steps. Initially, it didn't seem as if he reacted or said anything. I think the reaction of him came after the catcher, William Contreras, which is a beast, by the way, this year. The
Yo,
younger
no, yo,
William
that ass, yo,
Contreras. I
top
want
one
him.
catcher in the MLB.
I want him, bro.
Yo, yeah.
But yeah, I think he said something to him, to Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham didn't like it. If you look at Tommy Pham's history, you can say he has a short temper. You can say that if you're a person that attacks him or says something that he doesn't find appropriate, he would address it in a moment. He's not scared to back down. So that's something that I feel like you kind of got to do your due diligence. But hey, to each his own. Um, um, yeah, there was an altercation there, like you mentioned, that he started walking away. He was shadow boxing, basically insinuating that he's ready. People want to fight. He's had incidents in the past, and I also understand your point of view and someone relate in regards to like if you were your teammate, you wouldn't really like him. He's not your person you will be around. I can understand that. And I can see how in real life how professionals may feel the same way. I do think he's gotten traded maybe due to controversy or behavioral issues. I don't think it's due to talent. I think he's produced enough to be steady in teams. He was a former Met last year, and we traded him for prospects, so I'm not mad at that. He did get traded more so due to he was overperforming, and we wasn't really doing much last year.
Right.
So it wasn't due to behavior, like maybe it have been in the past. Um, I would say I understand how people feel about him because the optics don't look good from the outside in, but he's also I feel like I give him grace only because he's a representation of a black athlete in baseball, and that's not a lot of those now. So maybe he may feel like he's judged harshly. Maybe he feels like he has to do more to overcome perception, overcome judgment, because that's something that he probably has to wear on his jacket on his sleeve. Like maybe, like I understand how some players feel like that. Even Stroman has dealt with his issues in the past, and people look at him like, "Oh, he's not a good teammate. He's not committed." But the fans play a role into how players react too, and you just never know, man. Like we live in a world that is not pretty. It's not amazing in every way. People still feel prejudice. People go through oppression and stuff too. So we don't know the exact words that Contreras maybe have said or anyone in the Brewers. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the behavior was good. I'm just saying that that's a possibility of what he may have feel or what he feels on a day to day basis. Because he doesn't like getting addressed a certain way or whatnot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And from a different perspective, like he did an interview once. I think it was after like a game-winning hit, a walk-off hit, that he said that he grew up without his dad, and everything that he's done up until this point has been just him. Which I mean, shout out to him. I mean, he plays for the MLB. He's a millionaire. I guess he's winning. Like he's been places where I haven't gone yet. So I respect that. But from my perspective on that play in particular, it just looked like he just got mad that he was gunned out at home, and he felt I guess really bad about it himself, and he probably we're not in his head to know exactly what happened, but from my perspective it just looked like he was mad that he was called out at home, and the team went and celebrated that. It's the same way as if somebody hits a grand slam or whatever and they flip the bat, like if just get them the next pitch. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, but we are wrapping up. Anything else that you want to share before we let go?
Hey man, for the viewers, thank you so much for your support. Please tune into the episode, comment, subscribe. This is a really fun conversation. And next one, we're looking forward to adding some more fun ideas and topics, and possibly go over a scouting report card from many years ago. And
Yeah,
we back
exciting.
episode 8, 300 Club.